Hello, I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters. We hope you'll continue to watch as we discuss issues facing our community and provide you with the resources and information needed to find solutions. Today's show is about summer survival. And after you survive the summer, well, we all know what comes next. That's right, fall. So our first guest is going to get you busy in the house preparing for that day when the backpacks come out of the closet. Please welcome Perri Kersh, owner of Neat Freak Professional Organizing. Perri, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Oh, do I need you? I need you more than you know.
I hear that a lot.
How did you get into this, professional organizing, and how long have you been doing it?
So I've been working as a professional organizer, specifically in my business, for about 13 years, although I did some productivity work way back in the 90s. So my whole career has pretty much been around organization and productivity work. And I got into this, I have a background in counseling, and I had done that on a higher education level for several years. And after I had my second child, I really wanted to go back to work for myself. And I wanted to do something that was in a helping profession, but not necessarily clinical. And I've just always been organized. I am a kid who, was my high school senior superlative was neatest. And I think even my imaginary friend as a young child was my dad's tie organizer. I would haul around with myself. I named it Wrinkles. So I came by it honestly. So yeah, I've been doing it in my own business now for about 13 years.
Well, I would love to be organized, and I try very hard, and some days I accomplish it, but I fail miserably at it time and time out. Let's talk maybe a little bit about, we're going to be in the midsummer here, and the kids, and then it'll be going back to school here in fall. So you have that transition, kind of a natural transition to maybe think about organizing.
Sure.
What would you suggest?
Well, so this is the big challenge. When school first gets out, or as we enter those early days of summer, then the natural tendency is we're all exhausted. Kids have just gotten through exams and EOGs. Parents, we're so tired. We just want to kind of shove that school stuff in the corner and not think about it again till August. But I recommend you kind of hit the pause button if you can at this point and start to dig through some of that stuff that comes home with your kids. Those piles of art projects and the backpack stuffed with the 3-ring binder and all the papers and the broken pencils and all of that stuff. Take a moment sometime during summer to dump all of that stuff out. And a little bit of time sorting through it, figuring out, what did your kids come home with? What schoolwork is in there that really feels of value to you that you think might be worth keeping? And I'm here to say there's very little of it that you really need to hang on to.
That's true, yes.
I tell my clients all the time, I've yet to meet someone who has their K through 12 math tests that they're really excited about storing in their attic. So take the time during the summer to go through those things with your kids and pull out a couple of examples of sort of their best work. And what are the important pieces of paper that you may need to hang on to? And that could be a report card that came home or a school report from a teacher or something like that. I typically recommend with my clients that they take a file folder, label it by the school year for each kid, and just pull out a couple of those important documents. Stick it in a file folder, have that in a box, and that's about all you need to keep. It's also a good time over the summer, throw that backpack in the wash, give it a good scrub down, take out the lunchbox. The last thing you want to do in August is find a lunchbox that's been sitting around since June. Give that a good scrub and have all of those things ready so that when August rolls around, the kids are ready to go back to school, you're not dealing with all that stuff that's been sitting around for a couple of months.
Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for parents to, and I'm putting myself in there, that group, to throw away things?
I think some of it is just, it's a lot of decision making that we have to do all the time. And I think for a lot of people, stuff kind of represents certain milestones in our children's lives. And so we feel like, oh, this is their artwork that they made when they were in preschool and it feels so special. But when we're faced with year after year of accumulation of that stuff, it just gets really overwhelming. And people just want to kind of kick that can down the road and not deal with it. I have walked into many attics where I've seen a bin for 2nd grade and 3rd grade and 4th grade, and we just want to dump it all in there and say, I'll deal with that later. But later eventually comes, and then you're dealing with much more of it, and that gets really overwhelming. So the more you can do along the way, the better.
Yes, someone who has bins, I feel is light years ahead of me.
Yeah.
So how do you help? I mean, because it can be a very emotional thing. I know when the wife and I go out cleaning, there are different values placed on objects. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So how do you mediate that?
Well, so it's interesting when I come in, especially if I'm working with a family or a couple, I will often start by saying, I'm Switzerland. I'm here to be in the middle and to come up with some collective goals that as a family or as a couple or even as a group of business owners that everybody can agree to as far as, what is our end result going to be? I'm all about also preserving relationships in that process because it can be pretty tricky. There are emotional hot buttons when it comes to organization and how people define that differently. So as organizers, what we often do is we come in and take what for a lot of people seems like a huge, overwhelming task, and we break it down into small, manageable steps. For someone like me who's been doing this a long time, I've probably been in 1,000 houses. So we also come in as a fresh set of eyes to look at the problem and say, okay, let's see if we can break this into manageable steps. Let's talk about some best practices. Let's also talk about the personalities that are involved and what are your organizational preferences and how do you best work within your space and what do you need to get your hands on a regular basis and what do you need to kind of tuck away that you don't need to see as often. And then we'll take that system and help our clients go through, we'll sort and categorize all of the stuff. We'll help them make decisions about what it is they're going to keep and treasure and honor and what they're going to get rid of, kick to the curb. And then we'll talk about best storage solutions for those things that they are going to keep. And then we always try to wrap it up with a good talk about maintenance. As professional organizers, we feel like it's really important that you not just get organized, but you stay organized. And we also believe we're there to teach our clients how to use those organizational solutions going forward. And so we'll talk about ways to make it easy for you to maintain your system. And that could be anything from living by a one in, one out policy. Before you buy something new, you got to get rid of something old. Keeping a bag in your closet where you can quickly, toss things that you don't want to wear anymore, or keeping a box in the garage that can very easily go into your car for donations. And we also try to encourage people to get comfortable with empty space. It is okay to have a shelf in your kitchen that doesn't have anything on it or a closet that's not stuffed to the brim so that we can just be comfortable with not having so much stuff around us all of the time.
I think there's a certain relief when you get to that point. Perri, don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Because we're going to continue to talk about this. And I know there are more of you like me out there watching this show right now. And how do you get to that point where that garage, which you can't put a car into right now, eventually gets to a point where you can put that car in? Lots more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.